You folks see what happened at that auction last week? A single Colt Python, just one. It didn't just sell, it hammered for over $32,000. Now, if you think that was a fluke, or some glitch in the matrix, you need to pay attention, because this is the new reality of the wheel gun market. Walk into a gun store today and buy a modern polymer striker-fired pistol. The second you walk out that door, you lost value. But certain revolvers, they are doing the exact opposite. They are climbing faster than gold bullion. Some have doubled, some have tripled. And the rare ones are shattering records that have stood for generations. Today, we are breaking down 10 revolvers that you should never let go of. Because in 2026, these are not just firearms. This is money, locked in steel. Number 10. Ruger Blackhawk Flattop. Kicking us off at number 10, we have the Ruger Blackhawk Flattop, specifically the ones made between 1955 and 1962. Back in 1955, Bill Ruger looked at the Colt single-action army and decided he could do it better. He modernized the cowboy gun. He put in coil springs instead of those fragile leaf springs. And he built a frame strong enough to handle the new hot rod cartridge that was sweeping the nation. The .357 Magnum. The old Colts just couldn't handle that pressure. We call these the flat tops, because if you look at the top strap, it is perfectly flat. No protective ears around that rear sight. It gives it a silhouette that you can spot from across the room. Ruger only made about 30,000 of these across all calibers before they redesigned the frame in 1962. That is a finite supply. If you find a standard one, you are looking at $350 to $750. But if you find a rare variant in .44 Magnum, you are talking over $2,000. These .44 flat tops were Ruger's answer to the Smith & Wesson Model 29. Before the Super Blackhawk came along and stole the show, keep your eyes peeled for the 3-screw models. Look at the right side of the frame. 3 screws means it is the old lockwork. No transfer bar safety. That is what the collectors want. Prices on these are climbing steady, up over 200 units in demand just this last year. Number 9. Smith & Wesson Model 27. Number 9. The Smith & Wesson Model 27, but specifically the pre-1957 era, before the government-mandated model numbers. This gun was simply known as the .357 Magnum. This was the flagship. It was the successor to the legendary registered Magnum. It didn't have the registration number, but it kept that insane level of hand-fitting. The polish on the bluing is so deep it looks like you could swim in it, and the accuracy is target grade right out of the box. Post-World War II, Smith introduced the short-throw hammer. It sped up the lock time and made the trigger feel incredible. If you find one of these pre-27 guns in excellent condition, you are looking at $4,500 to $7,500. That is a massive jump from just 10 years ago. Collectors are realizing something important. The registered Magnums are becoming unobtainable for most people. So the market is moving to the next best thing. These transitional models, same quality, fraction of the price, for now. Number 8. Colt Diamondback. Number 8. The Colt Diamondback. Think of this as the Python's little brother. Introduced in 1966. Built on the smaller D frame, it has that same sexy ventilated rib, the full underlug, and the target sights. But it shoots 22 long rifle or 38 special. Here is the thing about the Diamondback. Values have doubled in the last 5 years. Why? Because of Python mania. When the big Pythons started hitting $8,000, collectors started looking for a more affordable way to get into a snake gun. The Diamondback was the target. If you have a 22 WMR version with a 2.5-inch barrel and a nickel finish, you have the holy grail. But be careful. The Blue Book of Gun Values literally warns about fakes on these. People forge them because they are worth so much money. A legit first-year model in the box, $3,000 to $4,000. Even a beat-up shooter grade is bringing $1,500. Demand for these is spilling over from the Python market, and it is not slowing down. Number 7. Dan Wesson Model 15-2 Pistol Pack. Number 7. The Dan Wesson Model 15-2. specifically the pistol pack. This comes from the Monson, Massachusetts era, 1968 to 1990. Daniel B. Wesson II, the great-grandson of the Smith & Wesson founder. He went off and started his own company. And he changed the game. He introduced a tensioned barrel system. Instead of screwing the barrel into the frame like everyone else, you have a barrel shroud and a nut at the muzzle. You create tension. And that makes these things tack drivers. The pistol pack is the ultimate range kit. You get one frame and 4 barrels, 2.5 inch, 4 inch, 6 inch, and 8 inch. You can go from concealed carry to silhouette hunting in 5 minutes on the tailgate of your truck. A complete set in the hard case with the wrench and the feeler gauges, $1,500 to $2,500. The rare calibers are the real sleepers here. But even the standard .357 Magnum packs are steadily climbing. Number 6. Ruger Super Blackhawk Old Model. Number 6. The Ruger Super Blackhawk Old Model. Now everyone knows Clint Eastwood made the Model 29 famous. But not everyone could find a Smith & Wesson back then, so they bought the Ruger. The Super Blackhawk hit the scene in 1959. Built for the .44 Magnum, it had that big Dragoon-style square-back trigger guard and the unfluted cylinder. It looks like pure business. The ones you want are the old models made before 1973. 3 screws on the frame, no transfer bar. It clicks 4 times when you pull the hammer back. OLT. Most of these had 7.5-inch barrels. If you find a factory 6.5-inch, buy it. Values for clean examples are pushing $900, and first-year production models with 4-digit serial numbers, those are well over $1,000. Ruger still makes the Super Blackhawk today, but the new ones just don't have the soul or the collector value of those old models. Number 5. Smith & Wesson Model 29. Pre-dash number 5. We are talking about the heavy hitter, the Smith & Wesson Model 29 Pre-dash, produced from 1956 to 1958. Sure, Dirty Harry made the Model 29 a cultural icon in 1971. But the hardcore collectors, they want the early ones. The ones made right after Elmer Keith bullied Smith & Wesson into making a gun that could handle his hot .44 loads. Before 1957, there were no model numbers. These were just the .44 Magnum hand ejector. Only about 6,500 of these pre-dash models were ever made, if you find one in excellent condition. You are looking at double the price of a standard vintage 29. We are talking $2,000 to $4,000 plus. Elmer Keith's personal prototype sold for nearly $29,000 a few years back. That history matters. Even the later pinned and recessed models are skyrocketing. But the pre-dash, that is the king of the N-frames. Number 4. Colt Single Action Army First Generation. Number 4. The Peacemaker. The Colt Single Action Army First Generation. This is the gun that won the West. Adopted by the military in 1873, used by lawmen, outlaws, and ranchers for over a century. Collectors split these into 2 groups: the black powder frames, made before 1898, and the smokeless frames, made up to 1941. The black powder guns are the gold standard. A clean example can run anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 if you get into the rare stuff, like the U.S. cavalry contracts, or the Bisley target models. You are talking $20,000 easy. A Black Beauty engraved by Nimschke just sold for over $1.6 million. They aren't making any more of these. Every year, more of them disappear into museums or private vaults. If you want a piece of American history that you can hold in your hand, this is it. Number 3. Colt BOA. Number 3. The Colt BOA. If the Python is the king, the BOA is the unicorn. This was a special run in 1985 for a distributor named Lou Horton. They only made 1,200 of them. Total, 600 with 4-inch barrels, 600 with 6-inch barrels. Here's what makes it weird. It is a Python barrel fitted to a Mark V Trooper frame. It has that royal blue finish, the hand-tuned action, everything you expect from a top-tier Colt. But because they made so few of them, the price is absolute insanity. Back in 2015, you could maybe grab one for $8,000. Today, The average auction price is pushing $30,000. That is a 236% increase in less than a decade. A matching pair recently sold for over $52,000. This isn't just a gun anymore. It is a retirement fund. Number 2. Colt Python. Number 2. The legend itself. The Colt Python. Specifically the early years, 1955 to 1969. Since the day it dropped, this has been called the finest production revolver ever made. That royal blue finish wasn't just paint. It was hours of polishing by masters who are all dead and gone now. The action stacks smoothly right before the break. It is mechanical perfection. When Colt brought the Python back in 2020, people thought the vintage market would crash. Nope, it did the opposite. People bought the new one, loved it, and then decided they wanted the real thing, the hand-fitted original. Early Pythons with the hollow underlug and the correct box are bringing $8,000 to $15,000. If you have a rare nickel finish or a short barrel, over 20 grand. The market for these shows zero signs of cooling down. The difference between a CNC machined modern gun and a hand-filed vintage gun is something you can feel in the trigger pull, and collectors pay for that feel. Number 1. Smith & Wesson registered Magnum. And finally, number 1. The holy grail of double-action revolvers, the Smith & Wesson registered Magnum, from 1935 to 1939. This wasn't just a product. It was a bespoke service. Douglas Wesson worked with Phil Sharp to create the most powerful handgun in the world. And when you bought one, you custom-ordered it. You picked the barrel length down to the 1/4 inch. You picked the sights, the grips, the finish, and the sighting distance. Each gun was hand-built by a master gunsmith. It took weeks, and when you got it, it had a registration number stamped right on the yoke. Reg, followed by a number. You got a certificate signed by Douglas Wesson himself. These cost $60 back in the Depression, which was a fortune. Today, because every single one is unique, and because they represent the birth of the Magnum era, the prices are astronomical. We are talking about the absolute peak of American firearms craftsmanship. If you own one of these, you don't own a gun, you are the caretaker of a national treasure. So there you have it. 10 pieces of steel that are outperforming the stock market. It just goes to show you. Quality never goes out of style, and they sure don't make them like they used to. If you enjoyed this breakdown, do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one, and drop a comment down below. Which one of these wheel guns would you take to the range, and which one would you lock in the safe? I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay safe.